NAFTA talks are underway once again in Mexico, and they've started off on a bit of a sour note. American negotiators have released an updated list of their trade objectives, and they include some things that Canada and Mexico have already said they will not support. Among them, boosting Made in America requirements for the auto sector and killing the Chapter 19 dispute resolution process. The document also makes vague demands to reduce the U.S. trade deficit, but didn't offer any specifics on how to do that. Now, if this is foreshadowing what's to come, there are concerns that the entire deal may be doomed. And it's not just Canada and Mexico that have a lot to lose here. American farmers are lobbying hard to keep NAFTA in place. We sent our Lindsay Duncombe to rural Missouri to find out why.
There's always anxiety at harvest time. This year, Blake Hurst isn't worried about his corn and soybean crops. Yields are decent. He's worried about NAFTA.
This isn't the difference between, vacationing on the Riviera and not. This is the difference between our farm surviving and not.
Since NAFTA began, the United States has exported more than $300 billion in agricultural products to Canada and Mexico. That's a 300% increase over pre-NAFTA levels.
So those markets, Canada and Mexico, are pretty significant then?
Yeah, 1 out of 10 acres in the Midwest goes to either Mexico or Canada. Isn't that amazing? 1 out of 10. I mean, you'd have to shrink agriculture 10% to if we didn't have those markets.
And is that something you're thinking about now?
No, every day. Every day.
Earlier this week, 168 farm organizations sent a letter to every governor in the U.S., warning that withdrawing from NAFTA would cost billions.
I'm proud of this corn that we're combining here.
In addition to the family farm, Hurst works for the Missouri Farm Bureau, an insurance and advocacy group.
I feel like I should be able to convince, if I could just talk to the right person and talk to them about how important trade is to my farm and our community and everybody that is involved in agriculture all along the chain. I think I surely could convince them, don't you think?
Do you think it could convince Trump?
No.
Hurst is careful talking about the president. Donald Trump is popular here. He announced his tax reform plan in Missouri. Hurst was there.
He did a good job of, he's a pro. He's used to be in front of people. He did a good job of delivering it. And then he said, and I will remain convinced to my dying day, it was off script. He said something about the terrible, terrible NAFTA.
The horrible, terrible NAFTA deal.
How did you feel when he said terrible, terrible NAFTA?
Well, I felt like he was incorrect.
We managed to pull Hurst's dad away from harvest. Barely. Charlie Hurst is 83.
Were you surprised that it's come this close to potentially NAFTA going away?
Yeah, I was, but we never know what will happen here. We're a long ways from Washington.
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
Yes, I did.
Did you think about NAFTA while you were voting?
No, I really didn't. But, and I would hope that when it's all said and done, he won't upset the agriculture trade that much.
There's still hope all of this is bluster, that if Trump does give notice the U.S. is pulling out of NAFTA, it's just a tactic.
Do you think that there is a master trade strategy happening in Washington? And if there is, do you think agriculture is being considered as part of it? Why are you laughing?
Well, your choice of words, a master trade strategy, I didn't know that anything like that ever happened in Washington, but we'll have to wait and see what happens, I guess.
After all, farmers are used to rolling with things they can't control. Weather, prices, now politics. Lindsay Duncombe, CBC News, near Tarkio, Missouri.
And I should say they may be waiting a lot longer. The current round of negotiations is expected to last until Tuesday. There will be another meeting in mid-December in Washington, and then Canada will hold a full round of talks in the new year.